Welcome back to Dark Corner Studios. My name is Aiden Wolf. So this video is all about the rules for editing audio. No, I'm not going to be editing any audio in this video, but if you want to see how I edit my audio, and I've had a few people ask, hit like, get subscribed, and we're going to be doing that in an upcoming video, so you might not want to miss out. I do have a very unique way of editing my audio that you might be interested in. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. You ready? Okay, let's get her done.
This is Aiden Wolf.
The first rule is pretty simple. It's easier said than done, though. Go in with great audio. If you're going to edit audio, you want to make sure you've already taken care of everything you could prior to actually recording the audio. Now, I know a lot of people just think you can fix it in post and everything's fine. Well, every time you do something like that, you're wasting your own time on the other end of things. Now, of course, this doesn't mean going out and getting a sound booth. Maybe it means getting a little closer to your microphone and trying not to yell so you get optimal audio. Yeah, this is good. This microphone has horrible audio. I don't know what you're saying. It just sucks sometimes. When I yell into this mic, it sounds like garbage. It's a horrible mic. What do you mean I'm off mic? What did you? No, mic's right here. I'm good. Yeah. Now, one of the best ways to do this is actually through monitoring your audio. It's very simple. Just one person with a headset on. You can really stay on top of all those issues while you're recording, so you don't end up going into the editing experience with crap audio. The more you take care of first, the less you've got to take care of later. Now, this one does actually kind of affect your DAW, but if you have more than one source of sound, whether it's more than a microphone or maybe you have a sound pad that you're playing sounds off of, use multi-track. You want to make sure that every source of audio has its own track. And the reason for this is very simple. You can't just edit out two sounds on top of each other if it's in a single file. Say two people are talking over each other. If it's in multi-track, you can edit one person completely out of that conversation, or you can adjust levels per person, which is even more important. It happens so often, 3 or 4 guys get on a microphone each, and all of a sudden one guy's way peaked over everyone else. And in the end, you end up having to shift everyone around in this single file. You spend hours moving audio up and down. You look for a leveler, you look for everything, when all you could have done is just recorded in multi-track, and that single file of the loud talker can be brought down all at once. It's as simple as that. But it also means that you can treat things separately as well. EQ, any kind of processing. Every voice is distinct and every voice requires just a slightly different touch. You don't want to just EQ everybody under the same band because some voices like a different EQ curve. And if you're really specific, you can actually make conversations sound fantastic just with an EQ curve and a little bit of processing. Speaking of processing, number 3 is don't be so heavy-handed with it. I understand that you just want to throw every effect you've got on every voice you've got. Usually most producers use more of a light touch when they're trying to produce audio. Okay, so that means perhaps an EQ curve, not too extreme. You just kind of want to get the tones out that you don't want and the tones in that you do. Any kind of processing is going to change your sound, and you don't want to change it to the point where it's unrecognizable. Now, I know in Adobe Audition, they have this little button when you're checking out the effects of the process. You can click this little button and it will allow you to hear the sound before you have the effect and after you have the effect. Every time you are putting some sort of processing on your chain, you might want to just kind of check to see what the original was. See how much you've impacted that audio before you decide to hit, yes, I want that. Now, of course, if you're doing this in post-production, you can drop the whole chain of effects if you don't really like the end product. You can go back to an earlier version of the audio. Number 4 is over-editing. And I know there's a lot of you that are really bad for this. I even know some professional editors that just can't help but edit out every kind of off word. Now, there is a bit of a problem with doing something like this. The one is people breathe. It happens. Now, you do get those strong breathers that seem to lean into the mic every time they need to take a breath. I'm one of those people. I, for some reason, have a strong breath. That doesn't mean you need to go out and buy Waves Deep Breath for $40. but maybe you want to consider exactly what is heard in a conversation. Anything that's egregious, like heavy breathing, you probably want to minimalize. You don't want to remove it because, once again, people breathe. Also, a lot of people like to and ah. And it can get really stressful and frustrating when you're listening through headsets and you're critically analyzing everything you're listening to. But for the average listener, the odd or ah isn't going to distract them from the story. There is an extreme to this, and I know a lot of people who aren't used to being interviewed may actually end up with a lot of ums and ahs. That's okay. You can go out and take the bulk of them. But don't sit there trying to snipe every single one of them. You want to leave a few in because it leaves a lot of the personality in the interview. Think about somebody who has a very unique style of delivery. Somebody like Bob Newhart. Imagine you took all of his stutters and all of his false starts out. It would be horrible. That's part of who he is, and that's why he's so funny. Just remember, you always want to have a little bit of a light hand when it comes to your editing as well as your producing. So make sure when you're doing those edits, listen back and make sure you're not taking the human element out of the speaker. And finally, up last, and this one is, I've busted a few people on this. I've only done it once, but I will never, ever do it again. Always listen to the whole piece. It doesn't matter what you're editing, but if you're doing a full edit on a podcast or on a YouTube video, go back. Make sure that you're going through every inch. Do not speed it up. Take the time and just listen. I guarantee you this is going to happen. You're going to be listening through one day and you're going to go, oh my God, I forgot to edit that. It's happened so many times to so many people, and it's embarrassing when somebody points it out. So just go back and listen. The true test of a professional is somebody that makes sure the work they're putting out there is perfect, or at least perfect to their ears. That means not putting anything out that has embarrassing mistakes in it, okay? And the only thing that's truly an embarrassing mistake is an edit that was completely missed. Maybe it's something off the cuff that had to edit that out, or maybe it's a brutal stumble, then 4 seconds of silence, and could you cut that out, please? And then continuing on with speech. Stuff like that, those little peeks behind the scene are not what listeners want to hear. And it just breaks the mood and it brings somebody out of the podcast or the YouTube video. I've seen it on both. I've actually heard it on podcasts and I've seen it on YouTube videos. So just watch it from the beginning and make sure you're picking it all out. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Just want to point out, I'm getting an SSL2 now. If you want to see a review on the SSL2, let me know down in the comments. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.